Let's explore this tonight. Joining me in the studio, Elsie Apiedu is Country Director for Pure Earth, a leading global non-profit focused on pollution issues in low and middle income countries. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you, Vidwan.
So much. And it looks like you are focusing purely on chemical pollution. On World Earth Day, what are your reflections?
Okay, so World Earth Day is a day to demonstrate our support for the planet. It happens every year on 22nd of April. The theme for this year is Invest in Our Planet.
Right.
And that's exactly what Pure Earth is doing. So for us, we focus on heavy metals that can be toxic for the body, mainly lead and mercury. In Ghana, however, we are focusing more on lead.
Okay, so what has your monitoring been able to establish so far in terms of lead poisoning? Are we getting worse, or we are becoming proper custodian of the planet?
Okay, that's an interesting question, because the actual fact is that lead is naturally occurring. It's already everywhere. It's in the air we breathe sometimes, it's in the water, it's in the soil, and it can be in the global food chain. So it's in Ghana, there are various sources. Some of our local sources include things like our earthenware that we use, beads, paint and things like that. So you can't really say whether it's increasing or decreasing, but for a fact, there is a high risk of lead poisoning in Ghana.
Okay, let's talk about the impact on children, because a lot of work has been done in that regard. What more can you tell us?
All right. Children are the most vulnerable when it comes to lead poisoning. So children below 5 years of age absorb about 4 to 5 times more of lead than adults do.
Right.
And this makes it very dangerous for them, because the damage that is done is irreversible. So there's damage done to their minds, their organs, body organs, and all of that. And worst of all, it can cause a permanent brain damage or lower their IQ levels. And this can affect them in their development. So you realize some kids grow up, they are not able to, they have short attention span, they are not able to follow anything in particular. This can actually cause more than the health implications. It can affect the economic development of a country, because it is estimated that low and middle income countries with recorded lead levels in children have these children growing up to cause a loss of about $1 trillion to the economy, because they're unable to really contribute to the development of the country. This is very worrying for us, and this is why we focus on children and pregnant women. Pregnant women, because pregnant women are able to transmit the lead, just like they do calcium, to their babies. And their babies are born with disabilities, problems, and it can continue that way up to when they're about 5 years old.
Okay. Now, World Earth Day charges all of us to talk about solutions. And so let's delve straight into it. I know you're working on every child's potential, protecting every child's potential. And this has to do with really protecting children from lead poisoning. And you're doing this in partnership with UNICEF. Just give us an overview of what all of this is about.
Okay, so the Protecting Every Child's Potential was launched in 2020 in 8 countries.
Right.
And in Africa, Ghana is the only country. We are doing this in collaboration with UNICEF, and we are funded by the Clarios Foundation. So just like we said here, the effects on children can be dire. It's serious. It's permanent. So together in our collaboration, we are trying to solve the problem. We are trying to bring these children to have their highest potential reached, so that they can be anything that they want to be. And so
exactly how are you dealing with the problem?
So first of all, we are working on identifying toxic sites. Most of the time for us, we focus on things like lead acid batteries, which when recycled can cause high lead level contamination. So we have identified sites that have had some high lead levels across the country.
Okay.
We have identified and zoned in to 4 sites that we want to focus on. These sites have about 200,000 parts per million of lead in the soil.
Okay. In wrapping up, any concluding remarks? I'm sure eventually when this project kickstarts, we'll come back to the studio and we'll talk about it some more. But what are your concluding remarks, particularly on the side of government? What sort of support do you need to actually make sure that this takes effect across the board?
All right. So we actually work with the Environmental Protection Agency, and together with their support, we're able to cause reforms to get the attention of all that we need to make sure that the right awareness is created across the country, because it will interest you to know that the awareness is not there. You talk about lead poisoning and people don't know anything about it. We've been to schools, we've been to hospitals and all that. But with the government support, we hope to be able to have a wider reach in the country so that we can save all our children.
Right, and that is the more reason we are talking lead pollution on World Earth Day. But thank you so much for coming. Elsie Apiodu is Country Director for Pure Earth, non-profits based in New York, and of course she's the country director, making sure that all the projects are running effectively in the country. You're still watching News Tonight live on GH1 TV. We'll be back.